competition.
Well, I saw him in competitions.
Yeah, he's got a full setup. I mean, it's you'll know that.
So what would happen if we put him in this point?
Okay, when you're ready, I'll bring in Mr. Disinger.
I've had both of them. That was fun.
You know, makes their part is Chris Prince.
Yes.
He's a great cook. He is a great cook. His dad is.
Okay, Mr. Disinger has joined.
Everyone ready?
Yep.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Morgan. I am chair of the JNC, and I just wanted to start out this morning by asking you to introduce yourself to the members of the commission and tell us why you want to be a county court judge.
All right. Well, good morning. My name is James Disinger, and I've wanted to be a judge since I was admitted to the bar 18 and a half years ago. In that time, I have worked as a prosecutor in different jurisdictions in both the county and the circuit level. I have worked in private practice, and I'm currently in private practice. And I've worked as a regional, assistant regional conflict counsel, working for indigent clients in Volusia and Flagler County. I think it's my range of experience that has prepared me to be a judge. And if I am appointed, I would work very hard every day for the citizens of Volusia County. This county is my home. I've been here for 18 years. I've lived here for 18 years. My children are in Volusia County schools. My wife is a teacher in the Volusia County school system. We have family here, and I would think of no greater honor than to serve as a judge here in this community. This particular position, the county court position, is particularly appealing to me. County court is it's very interactive and a very busy docket, a very, very busy court. And I enjoy that. I enjoy being in court. I enjoy the interaction with other attorneys. I enjoy the interaction with pro se litigants. I think it's there that my demeanor, my experience, my patience, and my firm belief in our justice system will make me an asset to the county bench. I think if you talk to other members of the bar that I've worked with as opposing counsel, you'll find that they'll tell you that I'm fair-minded. And over the past 18 years, I've learned how to efficiently handle heavy dockets. I have learned how to deal with people from all walks of life. And I've learned to make fair but difficult decisions that affect other people's lives. So I think based on all those qualifications and my personal life experiences and my demeanor, I think I'd make an excellent county court judge.
Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't say I love barbecue, so I love that you love barbecue.
You talk to us about your community involvement. I know that you very active with your kids, but you talked to us since you've been in private practice, and we spoke with you last, what you've done in the community and to get out there and get your name out.
When I spoke to you last, I've spent a lot of time over the past couple of years, honestly, with my kids. I went through a divorce 4 years ago, and my priorities shifted at that point to spending my time with them and making sure that as a single dad, I needed to take care of them. I have since been remarried, and my children are at an age now where I'm not afraid that they're going to burn the house down if I'm not there, and that sort of thing. So the internal pressure that I put on myself to take care of them and make them my priority has eased a little bit, and that has freed me to make more inroads into community involvement. I've started reaching out to different organizations here in at least in DeLand to get into different service organizations. I know Rotary here in DeLand. I have several friends that are members of Rotary. They've talked to me about joining. There's a quarterback club that is here that is social, but also they do some service projects. So that is my goal, and I'm working towards that. Obviously, with COVID, everything was sort of shut down, but that seems to be lessening now, and hopefully that will get going soon.
Tell me about your civil experience, because with the county courts, you have the landlord-tenant issues and the small claims, but it's definitely the jurisdictional limits are changing, and I would anticipate over the coming years that will continue to happen. So tell us about your civil experience.
Sure. My civil experience is limited. In private practice, I have handled some cases. I had a jury trial when I was in private practice. A non-jury trial with Judge Warren, a civil trial when I was in private practice before, but it is limited. So what I would do is if I were to be assigned to civil bench, and I understand that right now Judge Field's position is a civil docket, I would make it my priority to learn the rules of civil procedure. I would learn the rules of small claims court. I know the rules of evidence obviously still apply. I would make it my, I'd make an effort to reach out to other judges that have been through the experience of going from a primarily criminal practice into a civil docket, and lean on their experience and really dedicate myself to learning that field, so that if I am assigned to that sort of docket, I would be ready to go from day one.
This is Charlene Matthews. I'm looking at your resume. You have done an awful lot of moving around in your career.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily a criticism. Our resumes look similar, actually. I did a lot of that too until I landed where I am now 13 years ago. So go ahead and tell me what was behind all those changes.
Sure. When I first left law school, I went to work in Vero Beach, my hometown, and I was there for a year as a prosecutor. And during that beginning of that year, I met my then future wife, and I moved to DeLand in 2002, and I started working in Seminole County. There was an office, there was a position that was open, and I remember I left work on a Friday and I started work on Monday in Seminole County. But I was living in DeLand. And I haven't left Volusia County since. So as far as ended up having a family here and ended up staying, and then just continued my practice. After a few years, I had an offer to go work at a firm in Orlando. They had a few of the Orlando Magic players, and I was very interested in possibly exploring that as an interesting sort of law, sports management. And after about 6 months, I just decided to drive to Orlando, which just wasn't going to work for me. So I came back to the state attorney's office. Mr. Wolfinger rehired me, and I stayed there until I went out into private practice. And then I did that until that, and then regional conflict counsel until 2010, when I came to the state attorney's office here in DeLand.
I have a question for you. Because I see this in my practice. Judges get in a situation where they've got a pro se litigants, and from time to time, even when there's lawyers, and you kind of know what the outcome is, but especially with pro ses, or what the outcome should be, they're not able to introduce evidence correctly or present things to you correctly that comply with the rules of evidence. So how would you handle that situation? Because that is going to happen to you as a county court judge, maybe with some frequency.
Absolutely. And I have experienced that, multiple times when I was in county court originally in Vero Beach and then in Seminole County. I would instruct them what they need to do, and not as far as their requirements to put in evidence, but I would let them know that they have a opponent on the other side who's an attorney. The rules of evidence would still apply to them. I would gently suggest if they wanted to get an attorney, that would be appropriate. But I would hold them to the same standards that any pro se litigant would be held to. But again, I have seen this in many occasions with myself as a prosecutor, where judges would handle the pro se litigant, and they would continually remind them of things that they couldn't do. So there's a gentle way to move the case along, and remind them that those are not, you have to follow the rules if you want to be pro se. So that is how I would handle that. And again, if it was in a civil arena, I would familiarize myself with the civil rules and I would act accordingly.
This is Terry White. I don't exactly understand the answer to question 40. You have a Martindale level rating. If so, what and when does it earn? And what shows on the next page is peer review 5.0/5.0 on 12/11/2015. Can you explain that?
I don't know who put that on there. When I went to Martindale, I did not go through a peer review process. But when I went to Martindale and when that was put on, someone that I worked, when I was still at the state attorney's office when that was put on there. So in an effort to be transparent, I added that onto my application because that is on my Martindale Hubble. If you look up my name, that is there. Again, I don't know who put it on there. I'm assuming it was an opposing counsel. But that was the most transparent answer that I could give to that question on the application.
Since that date, now that you know it, I mean, you can approach them and ask them to rate you, to kind of get past this. It's kind of no man's land. So that's something you may want to consider going forward.
Okay.
What do you've had a lot of jury trials, you've been in front of a lot of judges. What is the qualities that you think make the best judge, and what are some of the qualities you have found haven't made the best judge?
As far as the qualities that make the best judge, there are two in my opinion. One is demeanor and the other is following the law. A judge has to follow the law, and there's no, that's the judge's job. So if I've seen, unfortunately, judges will, comment on evidence, or they will make certain statements that tend to at least make the litigants believe that they don't think that the law is proper, and then they try to find ways to get around that. So I think that a judge that follows the law is the highest quality, but then also the demeanor of the judge is important. Patience and being courteous and being a judge who presents himself as courteous, him or herself as courteous and dignified to the litigants, maintains the integrity of the judicial system. And that's what's important when someone walks in, either an attorney or a pro se litigant or a witness, that needs to be maintained. And so that demeanor up on the bench when someone walks in, or an observer who is watching, or anyone else, that needs to be maintained. And so that's why I believe those two are the most important qualities of a judge. And conversely, the worst qualities if they don't have the good ones.
What about, you've seen that some of the recent appointees have been challenged both on the circuit and county level once the 2 years runs. Do you have, if you are appointed by the governor, do you have any thoughts or strategies on an election?
I do. And you'd mentioned circuit. I know that an email went out as far as a circuit position opening up. I can tell you I'm not interested in a circuit position. My focus from the day I was sworn in has been to be a county court judge. So part of that is I am a Volusia County person. I have friends up in the northern counties of this circuit, but I am not well known up there. And I would understand my limitations that if I were to run a race at a circuit-wide position, I don't know anyone in those counties. Hopefully that will change as time goes on. But as we sit here today, my strategy would be to immediately, if I were to be appointed, start making that inroad to preparing for an election in 2 years. I know as judges, you would be allowed to go to certain conferences and meet plenty of people. I have contacts all over the state. I live in West Volusia, but I know people in New Smyrna. I know people in Ormond. I know people in Daytona, and I would utilize those contacts and really get the groundwork going for a campaign in 2 years. And the groundwork would start, I think, on day one.
Do any other members have any questions? What we are doing at the end of the day after deliberations, we are calling the applicants. And I just want to confirm, my expectation is that will be sometime this evening around 6 o'clock, but I couldn't necessarily guarantee you that's the time because it's hard to predict. But will you be available on your cell phone, which ends in 15?
Absolutely.
Great. we will call you then, and thank you for participating today.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.